right now we're just shooting ourselves in the foot way too often. It's a team game, and we have to play better team football. And that's the only thing I can walk away from the game right now saying. And after we watch film, we have a more accurate reasoning to why we didn't play well, and we'll fix it.
Well, let's hope that maybe they can fix it, but it looks like the season is pretty much a wash at this point. They lost badly last night. It was 27-6. In the second half of the game, the Redskins mounted only 33 yards of offense. Joining us now is Trevor Matich to help us understand how it went so horribly wrong. Trevor, do you have any thoughts this morning?
Well, if you pretty much think of everything that could possibly go wrong on offense, add a few things that you never thought could possibly go wrong on offense, and you're halfway there.
Wow, that's pretty grim.
That's depressing. Well, thanks a lot, Trevor.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying. Well, what was the? What, I mean, look, when you only mount 33 yards of offense in the second half, that's not just a whooping. That's an embarrassment.
It was, the Redskins were thoroughly and utterly dominated. And first, you got to give some credit to the 49ers. They have a very good defensive front. They went to the Super Bowl last year in part because they're really strong up front. So give them credit there. But it started with the Redskins' offensive line being completely, not just overpowered, they were obliterated. And we're not just talking the guys on the right side who are less talented than the guys on the left. But on the left, Trent Williams, left tackle, Pro Bowl caliber, might have played his way out of a potential Pro Bowl this year. He's been playing fantastic football. And then on Monday Night Football, when the entire league and all of fans nationally who vote are watching, he got completely destroyed in pass protection. RG3 has a lot of plays over this season that he wish he had back, that I've been critical of him for. But in this game, he didn't have time to make a bad play. He didn't have time to make a bad decision. They swarmed him so fast that you cannot lay this at the feet of RG3. He got beat up. He kept getting back up, giving credit for courage. But this one is on everybody else.
But Trevor Matich, I mean, we talked about this over the last couple of days. At what point does Robert Griffin III start to actually take personal responsibility for a lot of these problems? I mean, this was his worst game of his career, and it seems like, he often, when he comes to the podium, he says, well, we didn't do this and we didn't do that. Isn't it true that in the NFL, a quarterback, when they win, a quarterback should say, we won, and when they lose, the quarterback should say, I messed up? That's what you see from the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys of the world.
That is absolutely true. And in too many post-game press conferences this year after a loss, RG3 subtly or rather directly pointed out other players or coaches as to why they lost. And so I agree with that there. But this game is different. This game, he was so incredibly overwhelmed by the pressure. He didn't have a chance.
But it's not like the 49ers are tearing up the league, Trevor Matich.
They tore up the Redskins, and it wasn't just on pass protection. I mean, the running game did not work for the Redskins in part because the 49ers would put defensive linemen that are big guys over tight ends that are medium guys out on the end of the line, and then when the Redskins tried to run that way, the big defensive linemen would toss around the medium-sized tight ends like rag dolls, and there was nowhere to run out there. So you needed to have made adjustments in play calling, and this is where I think Kyle Shanahan and the play calling in this game failed RG3 as well.
Well,
there's not a whole lot of plays you can call when your offensive line is in the midst of being overwhelmed by a tsunami. At the same time, there were opportunities for the play calling to help out a little bit, and there weren't adjustments that I could see that needed to be made. So the whole thing was a big disaster, and RG3 didn't have a chance in this game. I've been critical of him.
Well,
he didn't have a chance.
Well, I got to tell you, back when in 5 o'clock hour, back when you were still in sleepy time, we opened up the phone lines about all this, and we asked the question, what needs to be done? And we heard some people say, well, maybe we need to sit RG3 down. And other people said, no, it's time for a coaching change. On each of those questions, where does Trevor Matich sit?
You cannot sit RG3 down. They traded really 3 draft choices.
Trevor, let me stop you there for a minute. I want to stop you
Yeah.
right there because there's an old saying in the part of the world where I come from is you don't throw good money after bad. You don't keep going to the well when something's not working. At some point, don't you have to say, it's not happening?
At some point, yes. But right now...
Well, isn't 3 and 8 that point?
The investment is so great, you've got to let him fail beyond redemption. And keep this in mind as well. Cam Newton, who was the first pick in the draft about 3 years ago out of Auburn, went to the Carolina Panthers. His rookie season set all kinds of records. His second season, which was last year, Cam Newton took a huge step back. This year, he's on a tear. He'll probably go to the Pro Bowl, and if he has a good next game, the next end of season, Cam Newton could be in the conversation for MVP. Now, that was after his second year struggling, and this is what happens to young quarterbacks, that they come into the league with a skill set, especially this kind of a mobile quarterback, that defensive coordinators haven't seen from this guy before. They have a good first year. Then that next offseason, defensive coaches study what he does and what bothers him. And for RG3, one thing that really bothers him is forcing him to stay in the pocket and blitzing up the middle. So the second year, they take a step back. Also because of, they're asked to do more in the second year by their own coaches. Then they adjust back in the third year. So this is not unheard of. But the thing I worry about is when you talk about should they get rid of the coaches. Mike Shanahan, at the same time, is a terrific coach, and he's flawed. But one thing the Redskins haven't tried is continuity for a long time, and we talked about that. The continuity, I think, is important. The one place that Mike Shanahan will have to justify is offensive coordinator. Last year, his son, Kyle, I thought did a masterful job of creating and calling this college NFL hybrid offense. This year, now that defensive coordinators have a year of that under their belt, they've adjusted to him. I have not seen him adjust back to them in ways that would give them a chance to be successful again. So this is some part of the evaluation. And I think that Mike Shanahan will have to be very honest with himself and the team to see if his son Kyle can make those adjustments going forward or if a change needs to be made there.
Well, Trevor, thank you. I guess it's really depressing, though, because we all had such great hope that he was going to come back and that it was, that we were going to pick up where we were last year, but it simply has not materialized that way.
No, well, it's because in part of a whole off-season injury, all that other stuff, but in part because defenses adjusted to what the Redskins were doing. The Redskins have not effectively adjusted to what those defenses have done to change.
All right, Trevor, we got to roll. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the football on Thanksgiving Day, and enjoy your stuffing.
We can give thanks that we don't have to watch the Redskins play
on Thanksgiving. That's right. All right, Trevor.